Now it is. Now it's on. Okay. Group chat. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's working now. Nance. Thanks, Nance. Thanks, Nance. All right, and we kept everybody too. All 6,000 of you. Excellent. Outstanding. Um, all we had to do was refresh the screen and it came in. So great. CM, hear you. See me, hear you. C M, see and hear you. Okay. All right. Well, I'll kind of start over then. All right. So our show tonight is going to be, the topic is the Abundant Homestead, a fresh perspective. And we have to redo this one because apparently I said something a year ago they didn't like and we got struck over it. So a bunch of videos had to be taken down. I'm not sure why that is exactly, but I think there's a few hot spots that I just have to stay away from. So I will, because we can talk about homesteading, farming, and just plain living. We don't have to bellyache about the things that they don't like. You know, it's not going to do any good. So we have to do what we can do, and belly aching doesn't do any good. So I'm just not even going to do it. As I said, we had an anyone can farm hog harvest, homestead hog harvest this weekend at the Clark Homestead, and things went really, really good. The one that we had here the weekend prior was great, and this one was also great in two different ways. All right, so I told you about the one that we did here. I guess we had a really interesting crowd. Every time you get 10 or 12 people together that are all coming to butcher pigs, and they're coming from all over the country, the dynamic is it's out there. I mean, it could be really it could be all over the place. And we've never had a bad group. We really never have. We've had groups that were long ago that were coming for entertainment. They were never going to do this. And so they were kind of interested in doing it, and they're kind of slow. We'd like, hey, get in here and help. And it was like, no, I don't actually touch that stuff, you know. But the last couple of classes, people have been, okay, I need to do this because I'm doing it next weekend. I think Johnny Spears did one this weekend. Yeah, I know he did. So and so did Isaiah and David did one this weekend. Well, the one that we did down at the Clarks, there was a lot of energy around that because it was off of my place, so I had less control. There's you go into it from my perspective with a lot more possibility of something going wrong, right? So you have to prepare yourself, and you have to think, okay, if this doesn't work, then we're going to go this way. If that doesn't work, we're going to go this way, and things like that. So you just go in with a little bit more awareness and I don't know what this just like you're not playing on your home town advantage. You know, I'm not playing on my home field advantage. So I'm a little bit up. I'm a little keyed up, and so I have to keep that tamped down. And of course, the clerics had not done this, and so it was a big deal for them, which I'm glad it was a big deal for them. And so when things start to go right, and then they go really right, then there's a great relief, and you just wind up having a whale of a time. All right, so our subject, the abundant homestead. Now, what we did this weekend was definitely a homestead function. That's it. We're taking apart an animal. We're starting with 2 live pigs. We're going through the process of shooting them, bleeding them out, scalding, scraping, eviscerating, and cutting them in half with a group of 10 to 12 people that have never done this before, right? So it's sort of like jumping in the deep end of the pool. And we had people come, and they came from far away. I think the furthest group we had was Kentucky this time. So we had Kentucky, Indiana, and then everybody else was Michigan, I believe. Oh no, we had a Missouri. Kentucky, Indiana, Missouri, and everybody else was Michigan, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So when I run down this group of people in my mind, it's very. I got to tell you, it is very different than what we are used to, right? Not all of them, but a few of them, like 3, 4 couples there. They were kind of like, wow, it's good to see you guys here. I'm not used to seeing you guys here. It's usually, how do I say this? I don't know. I don't want to slam anybody. I really can't. But these are professional people who have other jobs, other career fields that they've put a lot of time and energy into, and then decided, but we want to do this. But we really want to do this. I have this job. I work in a hospital. I'm a nurse, but I really want to do this. We had a midwife there. She missed day 3 because a bambino had to be born. So, but she's a homesteader, but wants to take it to the next level. And she was really good with a knife. She was a real good sport. Because when she went around, we went around and we introduced what we do. She said, I'm a midwife. And I said, oh, so am I. Yeah, certified. I'm actually a certified midwife. Um, and and then we had, we had people. There was a couple that had come over from Minnesota to move. They moved to Michigan, I guess, when Minnesota was a little flamey over there. They moved over here, and they were definitely professional types. And I even said, I'm not used to seeing guys like you in this. And they were kind of taken back, like, well, what do you mean? And it's really hard to put my finger on. But I'm seeing a lot more of it now. People who are making the decision to live more intentionally, get a handle on their food supply, and um, make sacrifices to learn how to do things that's going to set them aside, right? And every time I go through this, I see um, more. Let's see. I get more pumped over it because it's like, well, you guys are coming to me for this information. It makes me feel like I'm doing something right, And I've had that feeling for years, but every time we do it, it ratchets up just a little bit. There was a couple that had come from Washington State. They packed up everything and split, and they traveled cross country as nomads looking for a place, and they finally landed in Kentucky. So you're from um, Seattle. Was it Seattle? No, they were from Oregon. They were from, what's that place that's on fire over there that was on fire? Gee, I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They left and they wound up in Kentucky, and then came from Kentucky up here to learn how to butcher a pig. Very fun, very neat, right? And so I wanted to readdress the abundance of the homestead. Um, I think a lot of times when we think about the homestead, we think about, oh, look at this, Look at this milk that I got here from a cow. Well, there's another factor here. Look at this. Look at this cup. My daughter-in-law made this cup. It's a beautiful thing. And it's part of our homestead tradition, to make things. That's right. Portland, 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 Oregon. But if you're in Maine, it's Portland, Portland, Maine. David Duncan says, Clan Duncan appreciates all you bakers are doing. Well, that was good. I seen David. I saw your name tag on the floor down in the shop today, and I was thinking of you. Yeah, I made that video this morning, but it pooped. About the last 10 minutes of it, there was no sound, so I just canned it. I did get a comment when I was down at the Clerics from a friend down there, and it went something like, "You're not making enough videos," and I kind of have laid off making the videos because the Tribe Plus has the real videos on there that Joe makes. But as I thought about that, those videos are more how to do something, right? And it makes sense that they're on the Tribe Plus. The videos that I do, it's like I'll be just doing something, whip my phone out of my pocket and make a quick video like, "Hey, how you doing? This is what I'm doing and this is why I'm doing it, and it's a great thing and a good day, and look at the snows come," just stuff like that. But I can see how when you get a handle on our mission here is to inspire, empower, and educate, that is inspirational. Like, I see videos that people make like that, and they are actually inspirational. I see what someone's doing. And I've always been a big advocate of the show and tell. So I kind of thought, yeah, I will do that. I will make more videos, especially if it's going to brighten somebody's day. And so I'll do it. There's not a shortage of material to talk about. I had a pretty good video today, but I did have to can that one. So I'll pick it up tomorrow. I'm working on something that I think is pretty interesting, and I made some pretty good progress on it today. I'm building a shed on the north side of my new chicken house, and it's wide enough that I can put both tractors in there. And then they'll be under roof and they'll stay dry, and I really need to do that. Both my tractors are in the maintenance shop, which will pretty soon here will be the new butcher shop, and so we couldn't move around in there today. But it was snowing, so I didn't want them to get all caked with snow. I'm at this place where things are going good, and it's like makes a lot of sense to really take good care of my equipment because I don't want any more huge bills on my equipment. So let's talk about the abundance of the homestead. I kind of hit on it this morning. I think the abundance of the homestead has a whole lot to do with our attitude, at least for me. I mean, let me just speak for myself. You guys can do what you want. But when we got this place, I was in hog heaven with it because it was a different place than where I'd come from. I came from Montana. Montana was really windy. The little homestead that I had there was very small, and I was really close to other people. I had 3 neighbors that all had a lot of dogs, and it was not good. One of them had probably 8, and then the one over from her, she had like 6, and then the one right next to me, just very close, she was a soft-hearted nurse type, and she would just take in stray dogs. So she had all kinds of them, and they would come to our house. And one time she took in a hound dog, and he came over and he killed like 30 chickens. And it was just it just kept happening. Things like that kept. Plus, the barking was constant. And there didn't seem to be any way that I could look at it from a different position to maybe feel like, oh well, this is a good thing. There was just no way to do that. Our room was on that side of the house, and even though it was kind of far away, it was still just this house would start barking and that house would start and it was just too much. And I spoke to them a lot of times, and then they kind of clanned up and they were not going to help us with anything. And so we finally said, okay, that's enough. So we made the decision to leave there, not just because of that. We came here because of family. But when it came time to leave, it was like I knew that wasn't going to get any better, that situation. And so it was time to go. It was just time to go. And when we got here, my point of view was, wow, this is great. This is great. So my point of view on this place was it was a new point of view. And even though, wow, I got here, the house, we couldn't even live in the house. Everything needed to be ripped and stripped and cleaned. And it was unbelievable what we walked into. But still, we felt like it was good. It was good from our point of view, our perspective. It was good, and so okay. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. So I've kept that in mind ever since, and as things have progressed, like we've built a lot of fences, we've put up a lot of buildings, we've reconditioned the house, probably about 75%. We still have a ways to go, certain things, but it's livable now. Um, Whenever I get to a place where it's kind of like, I need more time, I need more money, I need more manpower to get this stuff, I'm able to say, well, let me just change my perspective on this a little bit and go into a room that is reconditioned, like this room, and say, well, this is pretty good. This is good. And then I think back of way it used to be in this room. There actually used to be water on the floor in here. And I'm not talking about a little bit of water. I'm talking enough water where you couldn't walk through here in the wintertime without being very careful you didn't slip. There was a hole in the roof big enough to probably throw a cat through or a wolverine. It was big. You could throw a pig through it. It was big. And that's kind of how it was when we got here. And then we was always going to fix it, but never really got around to it. The door that was on there was just a door, just a slatted door. You could see right through it. This room was never intended to be an outside or an inside part of the house. It was just the guy had a workshop back here, and he had a wood burning stove just for this room, and he had a little machine shop back here. And yeah, that's when I think back on it. So when I change my perspective and I think, boy, the floor in here is cold. Yeah, but it's not wet. It's not wet. And this goes hand in hand with improving our position every single day, doing something to make it better every single day, and then you're moving ahead. You're moving forward. And we've done that. It's 18 years, and now we can actually look around this, and it's nice. It's not perfect. We've got a long ways to go, another 18 years anyway, but it's still very nice place to live, and the business is working. And the business works because we've made these improvements wherever they need to be made. Granted, sometimes all you can do is put out spot fires. You go to use something and it's malfunctioning, then you have to upgrade it. That happens too. And when you first start out, you think, wow, am I ever going to get out in front of this? And that's what you signed up for. You did sign up for that. Homesteading is about making things, fixing things, and building things and growing things. That's all about that. But I think that there's a little key here that sometimes I overlook. Sometimes I overlook. And I have a tendency to, when I see a job that I'm trying to get done, I focus on it, and it's like, stay away, leave me alone, you know. And like for instance, today, I had these rafters that I needed to build, because I need to get them set on the walls, and then I need to get the steel on the top. So I actually have a shed that I can actually put my equipment in, so it will be out of the elements in the wintertime. I need to do that. You know, it's not like I just want to do it. I have to do it. It has to be done. And I, right from about the moment that I stepped out there this morning, I got interrupted. And then, about 1 o'clock, I got interrupted again. I got I got a phone call that I had to take. And then another guy showed up right after lunch, 2 o'clock, and he hung around for about an hour and a half. And I finally got out, and then boom, the sun starts going down, and then I get some kid asking me if he can get my help hauling something up out of the field. So but I choose to back up from that and say, well, I got some of it done, and I have some time tomorrow to get some more of it done, and I'm going to do everything I can to keep my interruptions back, because Thursday I have chicken butchering, Friday I have chicken butchering, and I won't get to it on those days. It's going to be really cold too. So um, adjusting your perspective on things is a big help. It's a big help. And I think that's what we have to do. So I used an example. You can be going along with your business, and all of a sudden you see some thing that somebody's discarded, some piece of trash or something that somebody's discarded, and you can think, well, that's terrible. Or maybe it would be something that you could use. And if it's something you can use, then all of a sudden it's a blessing, right? So uh, that happens to me all the time. You know, like the power company comes in and they replace a phone pole, and those guys just chop the phone pole in half and just leave it there. You know, like it's really their responsibility to haul it off. But oh yeah, I could use a phone pole. Sure, I can always use some phone pole. You know, so change your perspective on it, and then you feel like you're a lucky guy, you know, by getting it. Um, I was really blessed this weekend because of the people that were in this class, and I'm there to teach them how to process a pig. And in the course of doing this, I'm always probing them to try and find out why are you here? Why are you doing this? What's up with this? You know, am I on the right track for what I'm doing? And I got to hear their point of view, and coming from where they are, the businesses that they are in, it was actually instructive to me. I learned new things about the career field that I'm in when I heard what they thought about it, if that makes sense. Okay, because I look at homesteading from my perspective, and we had people in this class that look at it from a completely different perspective. Um, I heard something this weekend about homesteading. There's no fudging of the truth in homesteading. It's it either works or it doesn't. It's healthy or it's not. It grows or it doesn't. You know, that type of thing. And truth seems to foster more truth. And I think that sounded good to me because I've I live in a black and white world. I know a lot of people around me don't, but I do. It's either right or it's wrong. If it's a little bit wrong, it's just wrong. It's either right or it's wrong. And so that was refreshing to me. Let's see, there was something else that I wanted to bring up tonight. Yeah, we do something like that. Like when I get to watch new people's faces light up when I show them something, uh, I know that it's because they've just gotten a shot of empowerment, right? If empowerment is a like an electrical charge that we can put in them, and it stays in them until they're ready to discharge that, sort of like that. Or if I could see their batteries just went up. If there was like a uh, I don't know, like an LED readout of battery, or let's say it was a dial. I can see their dial going woo, 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 and it holds. Um, and when I see that, it inspires me. And I just came away from this weekend, honestly, it was a game changer for me. I came away from it and I've always known that anyone can farm is a good thing. But I came away from it thinking, hey, maybe this is a great thing. Maybe this is really a great thing. And I'm driving home. We had a long drive home. We were beat. And I thought about it quite a bit. And I went through the faces of the people who were in that class. And I thought, was it great for them? And I can only gauge by what they said to me and the looks on their faces and what I saw in their eyes. And I would have had to say, yes, it was a great thing for them. It wasn't. It wasn't just a Red Sox game. It was a good game, but whatever. I mean, I think it changed them, and I got a lot out of it. I actually got a whole lot out of it. And so with the homestead, a lot of times I guess we look at the hardware like, well, I got milk and I've got chickens and I've got beef and I've got a facility where I can do this and that. But I am starting to think that I've been not overlooking. I can't say that. I'm not overlooking people. I'm starting to see the brightness shine through. And maybe I needed to get trained to do that. Maybe I'm just probably I'm used to as an American GI. It's like this one's as good as this one. I don't need a bunch of star performers. I just need somebody who can turn this handle. Get over here and turn Zumwalt. Get over here and turn this handle. You know, and if it ain't Zumwalt, it's going to be the next guy. But that is not what we're dealing with. We're dealing with individuals, and each one of them is complex and got a tremendous amount of value that we haven't even touched. We haven't even tapped it. Right? I don't know if I'm coming across well tonight. There was a guy in the class too, and him and his mom had come up from Missouri. He was 16, and he was kind of standing back, almost like like this was kind of beat for him. And I finally got around to talking to him, and he was interested in some of the things that I'm interested in. Actually, him and his dad do Civil War reenactments, and they do World War II reenactments, and so they're we had a common ground talking about airplanes and different vintage weapons and things like that, and we got to the phase where we were cutting off pork chops and then trimming the fat off of them, and then once you trim the fat off them, you got to trim the skin off the fat. And I'm watching this kid, 16 years old, the way he handled the knife, and I felt like I was watching one of my kids handle a knife. And I thought, wow, this kid's really got some raw talent here. And I started questioning him. Have you ever worked in a butcher shop? He says, no, I've just processed deer with my dad, with daddy. I processed some deer with daddy. And I couldn't take my eyes off of his performance. It was just outstanding. And I went to his mom, and I was kind of kidding her, and I said, hey, how much do you need this kid at home? Like, I'll take him. And she said, oh, he's my oldest kid. I got to have him. I'm sorry, you can't have him. But anyway. Yeah, so I kind of wonder, am I being brought into some other way of looking at things to where when people come to these classes, it's like a talent contest, like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm on the edge of something that's going to present itself to me. So there you go. That was my perspective on the homestead for this week. I'm a big scrounger, and the reason why I'm a big scrounger is because we find stuff that people have discarded, and it fits just perfectly with what we need to do. Like I put all those windows in the new butcher shop, and it's beautiful. I mean, these windows, I got them for nothing. They're double pane sliding glass windows. Beautiful. I didn't pay anything for them, and they did a dynamite job. Things like that. We're always scrounging something up. Okay, let me see what we got here. Let me read some of these. My wife and 4-year-old daughter dressed their first rabbits tonight. Absolutely legends. Absolute legends. I was thinking, okay, well, that means that, Donnie, you're the dad there. Okay. I wasn't sure if I was talking to the mom or the dad, but great. And Jill says, nice. If ever we need a stopping off place on a westward trip, you're on the list. Yeah, that's right. And you can take me over to meet Owen. Okay, Donnie says, my house is 1,000 square feet, so come in the summer with a tent or bring a trailer. I'd enjoy having you. We'll fire off the smoker and invite all of our friends. Right on, man. I'll bring my bus if I have it by then. I've kind of made a decision, though. I talked to John about needing a new pickup truck. The man van, it's working, but I really need a pickup, for hauling stuff. And I would kind of like to have I'm looking for a 2-wheel drive. I'd like to have a Toyota Tundra, but I know that's a tall order because they're hard to find. I keep looking through and I can't find them. I'd like to have a 5-speed transmission. I'd like to have a V8 or V6. They both have about the same ponies, I guess. It doesn't really matter. And then I think what I'm going to do is put toolboxes on the sides so I can keep my tools in there. And then possibly I would look around for a 5th wheel that I could adapt up. So if I have a plate that goes across, I can sit it on there and I can use the pickup truck to haul the 5th wheel around. And if I can't get a Tundra, I'm just going to have to get an American truck, which I think the Tundras are made in the States anyway, but whatever. I'll just be looking around. Yeah, I want 2-wheel drive. I don't want, I have a 4-wheel drive truck and I use that to plow. And if ever I had to go someplace, like if the snow was several couple feet deep, I would just use my 4-wheel drive truck. But it's heavy and hauling all that equipment down the road. Tundra is made in Texas. Is it really? Well, Texas is, it's almost like a foreign country. It's almost like Japan in a way, but they're good vehicles. They're good vehicles. I don't know. I, I like the looks of them. Okay, listen. While I have time to type, I wanted to say I find tremendous value in your streams, and I want to say thank you for the effort. It's my pleasure, and it's mutual. Honestly, it is mutual. I I think about doing this stream during the day. I think about what I'm doing and how I could. Wow, I'd love to tell somebody about this. I'd love to show this. I'd love to, make other people's dreams come true that are interested in what I do. If they want to do it, it's a good thing. And I think homesteading really is one of those things that puts us back in tune with where we're supposed to be as human beings. A lady was talking to a milk customer lady came today, and she was saying, "Do you know that some kids in the kindergarten don't even know where milk comes from? They don't even know where eggs come from." And we've all heard those stories, right? And I think it's intentional. I really do. I think food production has been taken out of the hands of the people who utilize it. And when we see this too, people our age who you offer them eggs that have come out fresh out of the hen house, and it's like, no, I only eat the ones from the store. Or like this actually happened this weekend. I ran into a lady at the class, and she wasn't taking the class; she was somebody else, and I offered her a slice of copa. It's really nice meat that's sliced thin and really, really good. And her no was not just no, no, I'm full. It was no, no. And then her husband was the same way. No, no, no. Anything from you guys? Nope, not touching it. And you see that, and people have, the more they become disconnected from their roots, the earth, their where their sustenance comes from, uh, the easier they are to fool into things that are other than truth. Right? I just put it that way, and we see this. I mean, that's look what's happened. Look what's happened with the children in the public schools. So my feeling about that. We just need to pull away from that and create our own, and things will turn around. Okay, David Duncan is saying it's by design. I agree. Yeah, the more and more I look at this, the more and more I see that, yeah, it's definitely by design. Hey, so I got some pretty interesting news. I think I told you guys, but this will be our third week of doing herd shares in Cadillac. All right, the boys go in for Taekwondo Wednesday nights, and we're milking 3 cows now, and we got so we'll have 6, and they'll be milking opposite each other, and so we get a lot of extra milk. And I've been thinking about the business and thinking about anyone can farm and how to bring more people in. And you just have people that want raw milk, but you can't really expect people from Cadillac to drive over here for a gallon of milk. They'd want it, but that's a long drive, a big sacrifice for a gallon of milk. Where if we're going to be there, why don't we haul a bunch with us and pass it out? So the first week Jill went, she brought 1 gallon of milk. The second week, 7 gallons of milk. And the next time I talk to you guys, I will be telling you how many she brought this week. But it's way up there because every day we're getting messages that I want to sign up for the milk shares. So really good thing. It's really neat. And what you look at as a business for raw milk is if they buy a gallon of raw milk from you, you can put a business card in their hand. And like the lady that was here today, she's like, well, we just bought 5 acres and we're going to build a homestead, but we're a little busy right now with work and kids and stuff. But boy, we sure like supporting other farms. And I said, hey, here's a business card. I like to help people get started too. So today is opening day. Did the boys get their deers? I'll tell you something, Sean. In the state of Michigan, now you are required to call them and tell them what you got, right? So I can neither confirm nor deny that. I can neither confirm nor deny that. I'm just going to leave it right there. Okay, Melissa Huck, that's totally my dad and sister. Yeah. Okay, we have runners and drop spots for our milk share. Oh, right on. You guys are milking cows, huh? I know Owen's got one cow. Yeah. So, okay, that's that. I don't, this morning it sounded like I could really flesh it out good, but I should have. I don't know if it came across. I'm not feeling it. I can be honest with you. But here's what I am feeling. I am feeling that we have the homestead beef harvest coming on the 3rd and 4th of December, and I have to knock down 2 cows this Saturday to get ready for the beef harvest class, because as you know, a beef needs to rest or hang for about 10 days. So this is good weather for hanging. We're going to hang it in the new butcher shop in the new butchering area, and we'll be ready to go. And then on the 3rd and 4th, we will actually just be shooting 1 cow. And then the class will get to help with the whole skinning and the hoofing and the heading and getting the tongue out and all of that stuff that goes along with that. We've got Devin Ehlers is going to be helping us. He's going to be our guest teacher. That I think you guys should sign up for the class just to meet Devin, because you're never going to meet a guy like him ever again in your life. I guarantee it. Right? He is really something. He's a good guy to have on your side, right? Good guy to have on your side. Real good guy. Very interesting individual. Knows a lot. I'm glad he's in the tribe. Okay, so he's going to be pretty much teaching the class. I'm going to be there. I know how to skin a cow. I've butchered a lot of cows, but there's a lot that I don't know, and he knows a lot more. So I'm actually going to be taking the class right along. My kids are going to be taking the class. I think we have 2 or 3 people that are signed up and paid for the class. So we've got enough to go. We really do. I would like more of you to take the class. It really helps with the anyone can farm it, because it keeps everything moving, it keeps everything financed. There's a lot of financing that goes into this, and we could really use help with it. Along those lines, if I could ask you to go to the Anyone Can Farm Experience.com, the Anyone Can Farm Experience.com, and please sign up for the Tribe Plus. Yeah, it costs, but things cost. And in order for us to keep it going, in order for us to pay our help and things like that, we're going to have to ask for help with this. And it's 49 cents a day. That's it. That's all we ask. So if I could get every last one of you to sign up tonight, it would really help me out a lot. As it's gone so far, it's really helped. What we've been doing has just been coming out of, I've been starving Frank. I've been just, I was going to buy him some new shoes, but like he had to go out and work today with no shoes on because I needed to pay Joe, my other son, to make the videos and get everything lined up. We actually have to hire a guy to do our web design, and it's a touchy situation because we don't know that much about it. We know what we want in the Tribe Plus, and trying to communicate that has been a little bit difficult. But I'm told that a lot of progress has been made on that, and yeah, poor Frank. But he's a little kid; he'll bounce back, right? Um, hey, Melissa says this. This is nice. You guys inspired us. All right. Well, that was fun. We had a nice chat with you guys. Um, these are the people that came to a couple of our classes and then hung around and talked with me and Jill, and we yucked it up pretty good. And they are the ones that put their house up for sale, and whammo, it sold. And now they're like, okay, I guess we're going to be homesteaders. And so they stepped out on faith. And I'm not really sure exactly where they are right now, but I know they're not in the house that they were in. So we tried to hook them up with a place up here, but it didn't work out. Just to go along with what you are saying, you and Jill helped us believe the dream. And here we are. Yeah, well, it's going to be cold soon. Oh, no. I'm just kidding you. Yeah. Part of homesteading is like, I got to be honest with you about this farm. This farm, me and Jill bought this farm dirt cheap. You know why? Because the house was really run down, right? The people that lived here did not take care of it. He had emphysema, and of course they had to smoke a lot in the house, so you almost couldn't breathe in the house. It's like that's all they did. This was a guy, little guy. He was Navy too. He carried around 2 packs of cigarettes in his pocket here. One was open all the time, so you could get it quick and light it. He's always had a cigarette in his mouth. And yeah, I had this voice like this, but he had emphysema really bad, and they didn't they didn't take care of it at all. They would bag up trash and just throw it on the haymow in the barn. And what happens to the trash if there's any food in it? The cats would tear it open, coons, everything. There was so much manure on that haymow, you couldn't believe it. And stuff was just everywhere. There was junk everywhere. When they left stuff in the house. They left trash in the house. They left the beds in the house because they couldn't get them down the stairs. So it was really something. The facilities, the buildings, they were all in really, really poor shape, and but that's why we were able to get it so cheap. Yeah, yeah. And you look at it now, and you kind of think, how does a GI afford a place like that? It didn't look like this when we got it. And there's even things you look at and you say, well, when are you going to fix that roof, on the barn? Well, it's an expensive proposition. I want to, and I will, but I'm not ready to do that yet because I don't have the money to do it. That's the way it goes. I have to put money into the stuff that makes money. The barn roof, it's repaired enough to where it's going to hold, but eventually it's all going to have to come off and all new roof put back on. It's going to be in the neighborhood of $20,000. Anyway, probably more. If David Duncan's listening, he's going to say more than that, Junior. But just for the steel, it's going to be a good 20 grand. But it has to happen. You can't just let it deteriorate. And go down. We stayed at a friend of Beth DeCleric's just about 4 minutes down the road from Beth and Tommy's house. And it was a nice little place. It was a farm. The barn had been let go. The fields were all overgrown, full of saplings. They had not been farmed in a long time. And when we walked around the place. Jill and I have a kind of a different eye now, having been in the farming world as long as we have been, and knowing what it takes to build things back up, and understanding that they weren't, the people that built those farms weren't exactly in the dark about that. Was modern farming in the 20s and 1900. That was modern farming. Those buildings, those barns, those hip-proof barns that you see, that was state-of-the-art stuff, right? And they had figured out how, they had crews that went around and built those things. And now we're looking at them in 2022, and they're kind of run down because the upkeep on them is, if you do it for cosmetic reasons, well, then it's sort of like putting paint on a car, because we don't use them like we used to. Like, we bale hay now, we don't put it in the barn loose like they used to. That was the whole purpose of the barns, was you'd cut hay, and they didn't have a good method to bale it at the time. So they would just haul it in the barn and stack it on the hay mow loose, right? That's where people used to get in a lot of trouble, in hay mows, because all that hay up there, farm kids, you know how it is. And we saw quite a few deteriorated farms. But then so from where we were staying, we would go past several deteriorated farms that were cute, and you could really see that they were nice, and someone had moved into them, and of course they fixed the house up, but the barn's still going down, And then we would get to DeClerc's house, and they put some money into their barn, and it looks really nice. And all of a sudden you see, well, somebody is turning this around, and they're bringing it back. And I have this theory that the new America that we're inheriting, because of the mistakes that are being made, maybe they're intentional mistakes, I don't know. I mean, a lot of this looks kind of staged. It's forcing people to go back into an agrarian society. So a lot of the people that were in my class this week, they had other career fields that in the past, they would kind of look down their noses at people who farm, people that have dirt under their fingernails all the time, people whose kids wear muck boots around. They would. And I know this because it's happened to me. At one time, I actually asked my brother-in-law, it's like, what goes on with the people around here? Why do they treat us like redheaded stepchildren around here? And it's like, well, your kids are barefoot quite a bit, and you kind of drive old cars, and you guys wear secondhand clothes, things like that. And the people around here, they want to have new cars, and oh, gee, maybe I should get a new car, I started thinking. And I remember talking to another guy about that one time. It's like, how come these people got all these people are driving $80,000 pickup trucks? How do they do that? I can't even think of that, because I suppose we could make a payment on that, but why would I make it on a vehicle, something that's going to lose value so quick? I just couldn't do it. But anyway, but things have changed, right? And so now it's times are getting a little harder. So a lot of people's children will probably be going barefoot in the summertime. My kids just do it because my wife goes barefoot all the time, and I would like to, but I'm working all the time, so I have work boots on. So I can't go barefoot like I used to go barefoot. I guess that's the reason why. And as far as like brand new clothes and stuff, we're not interested. Brand new cars, not interested. Not interested at this point. Hey, if by living this way and working hard like we do, someday you come into a place where you can, hey, I got a spare $80,000. Give me a new one of them Denali's. I'll take that. But even then, I don't know. I just don't know. 80,000, 90,000. Some of them. That's like it's twice as much I paid for my first house. I actually paid 45,000 from the first house that I ever bought. Okay, so there you go. There you go. Did I miss anything? A fresh perspective. I don't know how much fresher that is than the last time I talked about this. Maybe some. Um, I learned something else this weekend. Whenever you're talking with people, whenever I'm talking with people, you never know who it is that you're talking to. And sometimes, if somebody's driving a beater car, you kind of, okay. And sometimes when somebody's driving a brand new Denali, you kind of think, okay. But I'm not sure that that's the way to go for me anymore. I'm just not. I think there's a ton of value in what we learned this weekend, but there was a ton of value in the personnel that I spent the weekend with. And, I noticed something that I'll tell you. Doing hog harvest, there has been times when the people leave on a Sunday afternoon, and I actually plop down in a chair and have kind of a little pity party because I feel lonely. I feel like I'm missing some of my friends, and like this sucks to the point where come Saturday afternoon, your big meal is coming Saturday evening, and really looking forward to it. But at the same time, Sunday afternoon's coming too, and you're not going to see these people again. You may not ever see them again. Some of them I've seen a bunch of times. Where the heck is Jay-Z anyway tonight? And Zumwalt, where the hell's Zumwalt? What is this? But I've adopted a new attitude towards that, or my attitude has changed on that, right? And it's changed because I think before I go to sleep, okay, this is what you want to do. You definitely want to do this. This friend of mine, this guy that I just met, like 2 months ago, the guy's an F-18 pilot, a real live F-18 pilot. You don't meet those guys. And I tell you guys that I've met several Green Berets here, and you don't meet those guys either. But I've met several of them here, right here. This guy comes and gets milk. He's a real live F-18 pilot. No joke. He's not in the Navy now. I mean, he got out, but very, very interesting guy. I really like hanging out with him. And he told me that what you want to get good at is asking yourself questions before you go to sleep at night. Like before you, and I do that. I always think about what I'm going to do the next day. And usually it's like I'm going through the steps of what I'm going to do. A lot of times I'll get hung up like, well, should I nail it on the outside or should I nail it on the inside? And I'm not really sure. I guess I know when I look at it, and then I wake up in the morning, it's like, oh, put it on the inside. Of course you would, because of this, and this. But he put that in words for me. Like, you really want to ask yourself questions before you go to sleep at night. Like, how am I going to do this? And I have been asking myself, when it concerns the tribe, anyone can farm tribe, the anyone can farm experience. How do I inspire? How do I do that? How do I empower people? How do I educate people? How am I going to do that? And then things come to me in the morning like, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense to do that. And that's really kind of where I guess I was thinking about what Beth said to me about, you don't make enough videos anymore. And I was going to sleep that night thinking, I wonder why she said that. And then I go off to sleep, and my mind thinks about it all night while I'm asleep. And then it was actually the next day when I was driving home, I thought, I should do that anyway, because that's about attitude towards your homestead. The other videos are how-to videos, like how to build a fence, how to plant a tree, how to, and all the tricks and stuff that we've learned. But my things during the day, the 5-minute videos, 10-minute, it's just attitude of, yeah, I came out this morning, I had 6 dead turkeys. Here's what I need to do. Here's what happened. Here's how I feel about this. I'll take the blame for it. Luckily, I haven't had any dead turkeys this year. By the way, if any of yous need turkeys, gonna want to call the farm here, because we've got, I think, about 30 of them that are not spoken for at this point. Oh, yeah. So yesterday, I had a guy come that had an appointment, and he wanted to buy some pigs. This guy shows up. He's from Detroit, and he's Italian, right? I'm from an area that was you were either Irish or you're Italian. And Irish and Italian, they kind of mix in some ways, but then in other ways they don't, And it was I'm used to it. I love Italian people. I dated an Italian girl. One of my best friends was Italian. I hung around with a lot of Italians. But there's lines that you don't, from New England, and it's not, everything's not all mixed there. There's still sections of town that are Italian sections of town that you don't probably want to go there, at least not when it's dark, I guess. And then Irish sections of town, well, be careful driving through there, on St. Patty's Day. There's certain things, about these. But anyway, this guy was here, and I think his wife was Irish too. Anyway, she was real nice. He was real nice. He was a kick. He was a chef, and he wants to get into homesteading. So he's got himself a farm, and he was inquiring about bringing his restaurant operation on farm. And I think it is a dynamite idea. Just think if I had a restaurant here, or not really a restaurant, but let's say a dining room. Let's say I had a dining room here and it was a separate building, like the old butcher shop. Let's say the big part of that, we turn it into a dining room. And then the small part of the butcher shop where we do all the packing and stuff, we turn that into a kitchen. It'd be a good sized kitchen. And it'd also be a good sized dining room. I'd say you could have probably four tables in there, 4 round tables. And then you were only open, say, by appointment, and Fridays and Saturdays, evenings. That's it. And, small. I mean, you wouldn't want a whole pile of people, but it's private. So people call and they make a reservation, and then they can come, and, very simple menu, like either this or this. That's it. And then all the sides and all that stuff. Everything comes off the farm. It could be really unique. And also we could do a little hay wagon around the farm. We could get a wagon going that is just for people to tour around. I think that it would really be fun. And so when I talked to him on the phone about pigs, he said he's thinking of doing this. And I said, hey, I'm thinking of doing that too. We need to compare notes on this. So he came yesterday at 12:30, and they were here until 4:30. Yeah. We got the pigs loaded. They bought a bunch of stuff from us, and we had a good old time. Now I got a friend down there, and they said they want to have us down for a real Italiano meal. So I'm thinking about taking them up on it. It would be really fun. They brought a couple of their kids with them. We had a nice time. All right. And see, that's part of the abundance of the homestead. It really is. I mean, I kept saying, I got to get back to work. I got to get this done. But then I'd say, nah, you know what? You don't meet people like this every day. Relax. The work will take care of itself. Enjoy these people. Enjoy them. And of course, being Italian, he gave me a big hug before he left. And I said, can I hug your wife? I said, I'd rather get a big hug from her. And he says, by all means, take a hug. So I did. Fun. Good guy. Uh, David Duncan saying, you feel that way because we are clan now. Tribe. I like clan. I wanted to call Tribe Plus the clan, but I got kind of overruled on that. And even uh, I think it was Dave of Dave and Sonia said, I probably wouldn't have come here if you called it the clan. He told me that. I said, why? I mean, clan. That's Irish. That's not like Ku Klux Klan. They stole it. Or what about the Wu Tang Clan? I think that they were. I don't even know what they were, but there was some rock group. Wu Tang Clan. All right, I'm gonna get going. You guys got me pumped up. Wednesday night, tomorrow night, I am going to conduct a consulting meeting on Zoom. We're going every other. So, but I'm not going to stay on long. If people come on and they have questions, then we'll expound on them. But if people don't, I'm not just gonna yak about stuff. That's what this night is for. But tomorrow night we'll do the Zoom call. So if you want to get on the Zoom call, you have to be a member of the Plus, and then you have full access to moi. All right. All right. I'm going to get going. Good night, everybody. Remember, anyone